Hello everyone and welcome to my next project, which is changing the front brake pads on the wife's Ford Fiesta. As usual, safety is paramount, so make sure the car is jacked up on axle stands before you start. With the wheels off, first job is to remove the brake caliper. Hold the slide pin steady with a 19mm spanner and remove the mounting bolts with a 12mm spanner or socket. Next, remove the bolt from the brake hose mounting bracket and you can then slide the caliper off. You'll then need to press the brake cylinder back into the caliper to make room for the new larger pads. Now it's recommended that you open the bleed nipple to do this so that any excess fluid is removed rather than any contaminated fluid being forced back into the ABS unit. So you need to place a bleed pipe on the nipple, and ideally you should clamp the brake hose, but I don't have a hose clamp so I didn't bother with that. You can then use a G-clamp or a bar clamp like mine to force the cylinder back in. Once that's done, hang the caliper out of the way with a cable tie or something similar. You can then go ahead and remove the old brake pads. As you can see here, these pads were definitely ready for renewal. It's the first pair of new pads this car has had, and it's done, I think, just over 40,000 miles. Once the pads are out, you can then remove the spring guide clips or anti-rattle clips, whatever they're called. Next, give the carrier and the clips a good clean with a wire brush and some brake cleaner, and then refit the clips. Now the new brake pads I got had a coating on the back which the old pads didn't have, so I'm not sure that it was entirely necessary to put the anti-squeal shims back on, but I decided to put them on anyway as they were in pretty good condition and just needed a bit of a clean. There are two shims that go on the inner pad and one on the outer pad. You can't really get them mixed up because you can see that the inner pad has got a circular mark on it where the piston has been pressing on it. Once the shims have been fitted back onto the new pads, dab a bit of copper grease or something similar on the back of the pads and on the tabs and on the guide clips as well. Be very careful though not to get any on the friction surface of the pads or on the discs. You can then fit the new pads into the carrier. Next, give the caliper a bit of a clean and slide it back into position and refit the bolts. Refit the brake hose mounting bracket. Finally, don't forget to press the brake pedal a few times to take up the slack. Otherwise, when you drive off, you'll find you haven't got any brakes, and that's never a good idea.